All right, so we are going to start the practice in a seated position. So find a bolster. You can use the blocks. You can also use any extra supports that make you arrive into this comfortable seated place. And from here, I would like just to have a moment to shift the weight forward, shift the weight back, keeping a neutral place, a neutral center of gravity through the spine. But just tilt the pelvis in both directions, forward and back, and recognizing the edge of the movement when you start reaching to the pubic bone, for example, at front, and the tailbone when you start leaning back, and then sit bones, right or left, and finding yourself closing your eyes and repeating those four corners, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And now direct your attention, like if you are drawing a line from those four corners into the center, and stop into what you may experience as that center point. And as you arrive into this center point of connection, from deep within, establish a thread of connection into the earth. Take a couple of deep breaths on your lower belly. Allowing any subtle tensions around that area to start also softening. Opening up an invitation to breathe in your three-dimensional container, breathing towards the front, towards the side and the back of your lower abdomen. And every time you exhale, direct the exhalation and your inner attention into that center point in which you start the practice from. And on the next inhale, soften the belly and allow the inhale just come as a response, as a rebound of the exhalation. And then let it expand it into your upper abdomen, front, side, and back. And on the exhale, you continue the same journey towards the center of your pelvic floor. And we are doing this pranayama 2 more times in the same area. Notice that it is a continuation. You breathing from the center of your pelvic floor towards your lower abdomen, and then it continues into the upper abdomen. The next 3 breaths, allow now that uplifting force through the inhale take you into your chest, and in the same way, front and side and all the way to the back. A continuity, a natural rebound that happens from your pelvic floor into your lower abdomen and into upper abdomen, chest. And it has a 3-dimensional component of exploration as you breathe into the front of your body, towards the side of your body and the back of the body. See if you can access to this powerful information that your body is giving to you when you inhale towards the front, and then it rebounds towards the back of your body, and in the potential places where there is internal locked and a constriction, fusion of fibers of fascia, any tension, it's like it's a little bit difficult to breathe in and through it. So your breath become also a vehicle that help you scan the places where your breath is moving through. So your breath carries awareness, always. Bringing the hands into the heart center and having a moment to establish an intention for you today. We are going to start by fanning your seat all the way into the ground, so you can take the bolster, any support that you had underneath you. Especially if you had the bolster, then we are going to now shift it behind us on the mat. So make sure that the bolster is in contact with your back, with the sacrum. And we take the block. And we are going to start with soles of the feet on the floor, rounding yourself all the way back, vertebrae by vertebrae. And as you arrive into the bolster, have the block to support your head. So your head is higher than your chest, and your chest is higher than the pelvis. We can stay here for a moment. You can have feet apart, knees together. You can also have soles of the feet together and your knees apart. We won't take too long on this pose. Basically, we are in this pose for the next 5 breaths. Finding a neutral place to rest from any tensions from the previous pose. take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, gentle waking of toes and fingers. Use your hands to bring the legs closer to you, so no so much of an action or effort from your groins, legs, and then stretching one leg at a time all the way down. Here you can find once again the stillness in this pose. You can take a moment to externally rotate and internally rotate the legs. You can do that with a little bounce as well. And then your hips also to swim from side to side, swing from side to side. Stretching the arms overhead. Gentle deep breath, and we're gonna start releasing this pose, transitioning. Interlace your fingers in the back of your head, lifting the head up, catching the block. You can put the block on the side for a moment. And start rolling yourself out of the bolster into the mat. So you can put it gentle on the side and allow yourself to come into a fetal pose, knees to chest, and taking just a moment to breathe into this pose. Using your hands to come back into a seated position. Crossing legs. Taking a deep breath and feeling your body. Bringing the arms up. And then the exhale, scanning your body from the crown, right and left side. And just to receive the information from your body, what is asking for, what is telling you, as memory and information storage. We have a gentle bow, continuing honoring our bodies. From here, we are going to transition into a butterfly pose, which is known as Baddha Konasana on traditional Hatha yoga. And for that, I will be facing sideways so you have a better reference. We are going to find ourselves also the feet together. And we are going to invite actually our feet to go even wider away from our pelvis. I would like to bring the supports even closer just in case. And from here, we're going to take a gentle breath, lengthening through the spine. And on the exhale, we are going to start creating a circular motion. Really want to invite you to round the spine and to find that full flexion. You can feel vertebrae by vertebrae. This movement is traveling through the different segments of the spine, and the connection from the center of the pelvic floor meets the earth, and there is this energetic rebound that you can direct into your spine Let it flow vertebrae by vertebrae up, and that's when your spine comes into an extension to the top of the head, and then as your pelvis runs forward, chin to chest, and as your pelvis tilts back, then there is an arch. So there is a wave, a circular motion. And in every circle, you can start inviting yourself to come closer forward. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Every movement is very important as a way to scan the body and to also sense energetically how you're feeling and which places in your body are manifesting with tension. So in the flexion position, when we do this forward bend in this pose, we are inviting ourselves to dive deeper into the fascia of the lumbar muscles and the mid back, the thoracolumbar spine. It's a strong network of fascia connected from the lumbar spine into the sacrum. And also the vertebrae by vertebrae, ligaments, connective tissue, intervertebrae spaces. And if you have a hernia on your lumbar spine, it's very important that maybe you approach this pose by staying on an upright position, maybe a very minor forward bend, but not for too long. And once we are in this pose and we continue this wave, bringing a sense of fluidity, softening the muscles, and just letting the visualization of the vertebrae by vertebrae movement to take you into that space, into that intervertebrae space. We're going to start arriving into stillness, and from here we can, as an option, have a bolster to give you support. I see sometimes people in classes, they even bend it, they have more of a higher support, and that can always be supported by having two bolsters. So for now, I will do this and have my block to rest my forehead. When we arrive into this pose, it's always good to stay way before the place where is maybe your maximum capacity. Because you want to let the body feel a deeper sense of trust into what is happening, into the poses you're taking. We are working on the superficial back lines of fascia, the top part from the sacrum all the way to the back body, neck, crown, and arrives in ends on the forehead. So even having the block as a support into the forehead, it may also create an opportunity to tap into that fascia, like the end of that whole network that traveled through the back of the body, and continue creating a healing effect from the forehead all the way to the upper back. Softening the jaw, dropping the eyeballs, and create more of a relaxation also towards the neck. Feeling your breath, creating that long, fluid movement through the lumbar spine, the attachment of the rib cage towards the lumbar muscles. And gentle, finding your hands on the ground, pushing through the hands to take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, shifting the weight back into your hands. This is the perfect pose that we can experience tension and compression working in simultaneously in this pose. There was a full tension through the back of the body, having that stretch. And there is also a compression on your bones, on your hip bones, creating more of a skeletal joint articulation that may create also, when you release, a liberation of your fascia and your connective tissue. Slowly, slowly, we are going to start releasing the feet and stretching the legs all the way down. And maybe have a moment also to let your legs to internally and externally rotate or bounce. And transition laying on your back. So first of all, we are going to take some supports away and incorporate other supports into the practice. So let's now shift from the bolster into 2 blocks. And from here we would like to now have the blocks in this position. And the bottom one will be crossing the body from right to left, right below the heart in the bottom corner of the scapulas, of the shoulder blades. And the top one will be supporting the back of your head. And the way we are going to start, if this is your first time doing this pose, would be having knees bent and having the first one first, having your forearm into the ground, and make sure that these blocks, especially the bottom one, is not on the lumbar spine. It's right in the middle of your back. Actually, a little bit higher, maybe in the same line as your heart line. And I can even have my hands interlaced in the back of the head and to feel if I can trust into that support, if that's well balanced. And then taking the other block and having that block being placed to support the back of your head. So notice that the block it's fully supported on the ground, it's not on an angle, it's fully supported on the ground. And you can start by having a moment holding the block. And you can also let go. And maybe at the beginning, it's just nice to find very gentle movements, shifting positions, in order to feel other layers of fascia that are connecting mid-thoracic region in your spine into the torso, the arms, towards the neck, the front of your chest. And if you feel comfortable, then you can also stretch the leg all the way down. Last very important cue to mention, find your chin into your chest. So there is a length into the back of the neck. So there is an acupressure action in the back of my body with the blocks. Blocks also are promoting more of this extension through the mid spine. It's allowing the front of my chest to be fully open and yet with very minimum effort. And releasing any potential tensions on the mid back that are coming from bad posture, that are creating a really strong fascia tension on the mid spine. Most of the times these mid spine tensions are also connected into the diaphragm, the main respiratory muscle, as some of the attachments of the diaphragm is connected to the mid spine as well as psoas and QL, and basically lungs and heart interconnected into the fascia of the rib cage. It's an intermediate bridge between the spine and the organs. There is fascia networks that are moving through the rib cage that also connect into the deeper fascias below the rib cage, inside the rib cage, that connects also into the organs. So by changing the shape of your upper body into this chest open position, we're allowing those areas in the back of your body that maybe were contracted with tension because of bad posture, too much rounded. Now they soften because they come closer together. You can see that on your arch in your back bend. The scapulas are coming closer to the mid back. And that restructuring of the fascia of the back body, promoting finding more freedom through your spine, and also opening the inside of the spine and also the front side of the spine, the side of the spine that is facing into the inside of your body, into the organs. Now is opening vertebrae by vertebrae. So it's creating a deeper connection and a deeper transmission of this opening also into everything that connects into them. The back of the lungs, the back of the heart, kidneys, diaphragm. So let's stay for 5 more breaths, focusing on the expansion of your breath. Releasing and softening on the exhale. Couple of deep breaths to wake up toes and fingers. Taking a deep stretch. With that, you can also bend your knees and walk your feet closer to you. Hands into the back of the head, lifting the head through your arms, so no tension in your neck. Continue rolling up, forearm as a support, shifting the weight into one side, slowly, slowly, releasing the other block, and shifting your weight all the way down, laying fully on your back. Long side. Once again, and let it be felt as vibration in the back of your heart. Waking up toes and fingers. Gentle bend the knees. Hugging knees. Let the legs rest and trust into the support of your arms. This pose is an excellent pose to create a length in the lumbar spine. As we come into a flexion, it's definitely helping to neutralize the spine from the back bend we just did previously. But it also helps to create a rounded lumbar spine with no pressure of gravity, no compressing it from top to the bottom, from up to down. Rather, there is this length, than the more you start bringing the legs closer to you, more of that length happening. I'd like to invite you for 3 breaths in that area, softening the groins, any tension on your pelvic region. And gentle releasing. 3 and 2. Let the legs rest into your hands and your hands supporting the legs. You're gonna start driving the legs in a gentle half circle. There are 2 ways of doing this. One of them is when you just let the legs to do it. And here we put in once again a lot of energy, muscle energy into your groins, into your thighs, your pelvic, your abdomen, your core, pelvic floor, which is not what we aiming to do on this class. Now, what will be the intention on this one is to let the legs almost like trust and let go. And now you continue checking in with yourself and your legs. One movement, soften. One movement, let go more. Groins, letting go, letting go, letting go. So the yang part will be your arms doing the movement. You can do one first, one after. And finding out this position in which you're creating a 90-degree angle. Your legs wants to continue falling, but they're being catch, hold by your hands, your arms. So now this is a counterbalance. I'm not pulling, just keeping my arms also letting the legs go, following the weight of the legs. And now we find this perfect balance, which is giving me into my legs a 90-degree angle. And now let's start trusting and surrendering any tensions and your body weight from your thigh bones into the hip joint. Excellent to release tension on the sacroiliac joint that connects the sacrum and the iliac crest. A lot of tension there on too much time standing, sitting, on our walking and running. Tensions on that joint may ripple a lot of tightness and pain into the lumbar spine. And here we're just allowing the compression of the bones, releasing the muscles and holding through your arms. Welcome gravity through your legs and let the weight of your legs sink in. Your feet, your lower legs, your legs remain fully relaxed, and you holding the shape of your legs into this 90-degree angle in order to create a gentle compression into the sacrum, sacroiliac joint, and unwinding from the depth of this valley, of the pelvic valley. And on the next exhalation, drop your legs down and all the way into the floor. A little movement from side to side. One hand on your solar plexus, the other hand on the lower abdomen. Walking up toes and fingers, taking a deep breath. With that, we are going to have a transition into the tennis balls, the myofascia release balls. Transitioning into the tennis ball, so we are going to have a moment, the next few seconds, to grab your balls. Tennis balls, myofascial release balls, wooden balls, whatever it's that you have at the moment. And you're gonna have them first one on each hand. And we are going to place it in the middle of the butt. So we can start lifting the hips and then placing the blocks into it. and have a moment to create a little bit of movement. So this movement, instead of moving the butt from side to side, I would like to initiate the movement actually from the legs, shifting the legs a little bit from one side to the other side. And just this very gentle movement, if you have a moment to look into me, you can see that actually the movement that is happening in my legs, I'm reflecting on my hands, it's very minimal. And it's not 100% linear, but as the legs are going in one direction, the ball is going a little bit like that, and maybe a little bit like going in another side of the butt. And I'm doing these micro movements outside of just a very simple linear transition. A little bit down and a little bit up. And as much as possible, if you lose connection, you can always keep your hands down on the block, on the ball. No, I just say you can have your hands down on the block, and so you can see your hands down on the block on the ball. Okay. And I want you to, once you have, you can bring the balls also a little bit closer to the middle, but still you're working into the muscles and into the connective tissue, not 100% directly on the bone. Once you have the spot and the legs position that serve you best, 90-degree angle, knees closer to each other, one open and the other one a little bit closed. You're going to find stillness. We're going to take a deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, lifting. And the exhale, transitioning the balls around the sacroiliac joint, the bottom part of the lumbar spine, almost really close to where the muscles of the lumbar spine is meeting the bone of your sacrum. So it's nice to create a little bit of movement. So you are squeezing those places and releasing it with the rolling. We're working with that natural rebound happening with the myofascia balls. Trying to find now a place in which you can arrive in stillness. Taking a deep inhale, lifting, holding the balls, exhale with a sigh. And now shifting into the top part of the lumbar spine, in the bottom of the rib cage. We're using the myofascia release balls either side of the spine, not on top of the bone, but either side of it. And now we're going to change to fingertips either side of your head and rolling slightly up and down. A little bit into one direction and a little bit into the other direction. Releasing the lumbar muscles, the fascia of the lumbars, and also the QL, quadratus lumborum. Especially when you're doing this slide twist, you can access to it through the side. Finding stillness. And from there, you can continue rolling until you find yourself now into the mid back, closer to the back of the heart. And you can do a little rolling through those areas. Allowing any hardness, storage in the back of the heart to start releasing or softening. Bringing fluidity by creating that rolling movement. Just be mindful with your spine in the middle. And finding a resting place that we can also blend with giving a big hug to yourself. Continue rolling until arriving into the trapezius, into the upper back. A hug. Sometimes cactus can help as well, or halfway, a prayer over the crown. So now the movement is not really happening on the upper back, but the movement of your arms is already creating different pathways for this technique, access to different layers of fascia in your body, in the back, in the muscles of your back, in between the fibers, deep closer to the bones. closer to the surface of the skin, below the skin. Finding stillness. And gentle start moving out of the pose with a big sigh. And rolling yourself out into the side in order to take the balls out. So, for a moment, we are going to find a gentle twist on the lumbar area with arms opening into a slight cactus here and center and into the other side. Once again, it's a gentle open twist to integrate the movement, mm, the power of the myofascia release. Laying into the side. And using your hands to come back into a seated position. Keeping the eyes closed. Feeling once again, sensing and scanning your body. And as we open the eyes, we are going to use the last one. This is a magic touch. And make sure that it's inflated 2/3, not fully, just 2/3. And we are going to place it on the sacrum. So finding yourself laying, lifting and placing balloon into the sacrum. Feet apart, knees together. That could be a good way of working with it. And if this is your first time working with these balloons, you may feel that it's a little bit wobbly, and maybe your body automatically with trying to compensate the wobbling by engaging very subtle other muscles to find stability. Here we would like to actually surrender into the wobbling, finding somewhere in which you can stabilize by creating a connection between the legs. hand into the heart, hand on the abdomen. And we're gonna create the next 5 breaths, visualizing the buoyancy of the balloon, continuing directing your awareness into the sacrum. Very slow but really long intakes on the inhale, and visualize that you are actually breathing through your sacrum into the rest of your body. That creates a pulse on the sacrum, and that pulse is also giving you a new experience with the subtlety, the most fluid, and yet the most powerful layers in your spine.
Within you lives ours, ancestor spirits. Your leaves and branches whispering in the wind are their voices. Flame of light,
Lifting
bridge of heaven.
and releasing. Notice the lightness sensation when you place your sacrum once
Artists of
again
the
into the
world
floor.
say the place where the sky
Knees
roots in
together,
the earth.
soles of the feet apart.
Your roots explore the hidden depths. Your branches lay the airspace. It is in heart as waves find and blood
Mid
and flowers.
spine in the bottom of the
Leaving it all for
mid
love.
thoracic, like in line with the
Dancing
last
with the
rib cage.
wind,
And you can have
I can
a
feel
blanket
your
or a
heart
bolster underneath your sacrum in order to
I
support
can
your
feel
sacrum
your
that is not
voice. I can
compromised. I'm
feel
using my
your
hands here for a moment.
heart. I can see you dancing in the wind.
And we take a few breaths, feeling the buoyancy of your breath, almost like inflating the balloon, and inviting your kidneys to be into that floating space. So anything that is rigid, contracted, it has its way to feel once again into the flotation, the flotation aspect of our bodies, understanding that all of the different bone structures are floating in perfect networks of tension and compression, that your fascia is creating in all directions in your body. Super gentle and yet really deep breaths. One more deep breath. Exhale through the mouth. Lifting, gentle releasing. One moment. Experience the lightness from the sacrum to the lumbar spine into your mid back. Take some air of it. Now we had it in 2/3. And we go maybe into 1/3 of the ball being full. And we are going to place it in the back of the head, on the cranium, almost a little bit of the cervicals of the neck and towards the cranium. Here we can let the legs to fully rest. Same experience, same approach. Allow the back of your head to fully thrust into the balloon. Feeling that you are breathing into your cranial, and the buoyancy of your breath is creating this lifting and descending flow, promoting all of the different channels in your cranial to open up for this cerebrospinal fluid to move more natural, to stimulate that fluid to move as well, softening the Dura mater, the main fascia network, really thick fascia network that protects the spinal cord. You're gonna find stillness here, just long and deep breath. Gentle waking up toes and fingers, and we are going to release for Shavasana. Whew, final pose. Feel the clear channel through your whole spine, sacrum, lumbar spine, mid thoracic, upper thoracic, neck, cranial. Vital fluids moving through, a perfect flow, no restrictions, pure potentiality. Remain breathing in and through this channel of the spine as you revitalizing yourself through this Shavasana. Take a deep breath, waking up toes and fingers. Gentle stretch your body like the morning time. Oh, bending knees, hugging knees, slowly, slowly. Rolling yourself into the side. And use your hands to come up into a seated position. Hands into the heart center, honoring the greatest teacher of all inside of our bodies, bowing to the wisdom of our bodies. So grateful to share this practice with you all. Thank you for the privilege. Namaste.